and welcome to this Warhammer 40k 8th edition Astra Militarum 2000 point list review and discussion, really. So I've had the codex a little while now. I've been looking through it, really like it, like the versatility of Guard and the new rules. This is going to be a 2000 point Cadian list. And it's going to be one I'm going to be building for the channel, and I'm going to give an option for a 2500 point list as well. So it's going to be versatile. I mean, versatility is the spice of life, I believe the saying is. No, variety is the spice of life, sorry. And that's what we've got. We've got a lot of different units to see what they can do. I think they all do a job role. I mean, playing Elder, I've had to kind of learn that the hard way. So let's go into the list itself. So with the HQ units, we're going to start with Lord Castellon Creed. He is a model that can move 6 inches, 3 up ballistic skill and weapon skill, strength toughness 3, 4 wounds, 4 up save, 3 attacks, leadership 9. He has a hotshot las pistol, which is only a 6-inch range. He has a power sword, that's no problem. He has voice of command, so he's going to be issuing orders. He has a 5 up invulnerable save as well. He's a character, so you can't target him unless he's the closest model or you have sniper. And he's tactical genius. If your army is battle forged, you receive an additional 2 command points if Lord Castellan Creed is your warlord. So that's good. And Lord Castellan Creed's voice of command has a 12-inch range. I'll say now that this army list, this 2000 point list, is has a total of 12 command points, and it has a battalion and spearhead detachment. And Lord Castellan gives you an extra 2, so that brings it up to 12. So the 9 for the battalion, 1 for spearhead, 2 for Creed, which is cool. 12 command points is nothing to stifle at. Then we have a company commander with a las pistol and chainsword. That's only 30 points. Similar stats to Creed, but has 1 less leadership, 1 less save. Has the same invulnerable and voice of command. Just another person to kind of do these commands and give your infantry units some direction, shall we say. Then we have a tank commander with a Lehmann battle cannon with 3 heavy bolters. That is 213 points. Now, the tank commander is a character, and if I'm correct, characters can be given relics. And I mentioned in my codex review one that looked pretty good. Now, this one says, during deployment, it's the dagger of Tusaka. During deployment, you can set up the bearer and 1 infantry unit from your army behind enemy lines instead of placing them on the battlefield. The infantry unit must have the same regiment keyword as the bearer, if the bearer has one. Well, it will, because it'll be Cadian. At the end of any of your movement phases, these units can launch their daring attack. Set them up within 3 inches of each other, anywhere on the battlefield that is 6 inches from the board edge and 9 inches from your enemy. In nowhere does it say that the bearer must be on foot, that it can't be a tank. So this tank guy is going to be in his tank with this special dagger. He's going to have a unit of guardsmen, which we'll come to in the troop section, deep striking into your opponent's deployment. So that helps with the behind enemy lines objectives, disrupting your enemy's heavy weapons at the back, and causing a bit of a ruckus. And then we have a Primaris Psyker with a 4 stave for 40 points. So that's the HQs, 3 from the battalion, the brigade, and then 1 from the spearhead. So yeah, you've got a Psyker giving support at the back. You've got 2 essentially, Creed and a commander telling people what to do, and then you have a tank commander on the other side of the board. Going into the troop section, we have a 10-man unit of guardsmen. A 10-man unit of guardsmen, so that's 2. A 10-man unit of guardsmen, that's 3. A 10-man unit of guardsmen with a mortar heavy weapon. A 10-man unit of guardsmen in a chimera with multi-lasers and heavy bolters. And then a 10-man unit of guardsmen. So what's my thinking for this? Well, one of the guardsmen are going to go off with the tank commander with the special dagger. That leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of guardsmen. Now one of them's in a chimera, and that's going to be hidden, probably for the entire game, in my deployment zone, ready to shoot off anything deep striking, to help with anything in my backlines, but to also try and steal an objective late game, or the chimera to go off late game and the infantry guardsmen to come out. Then the other 3 foot-slogging guardsmen are either going to stay in cover, behind things, or on objectives, as well as the 10-man infantry mortar unit, because I had points to spare, and mortars are incredible. And I need the extra firepower against light infantry, basically. If I've got gaunts or orcs coming at me, I need some support. That's it for the troop section. So they have their specific roles. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 not moving. So being Cadian, they get to re-roll the ones. And then they'll have the commanders there to help them re-roll everything, really, and first rank fire, second rank fire. They're going to be shooting extra shots, so they're going to be defending my lines. The one in the chimera is going to move up, and one of them's going to be with a tank. Elites, the platoon commander, he's only 20 points. He's just going to be there to help kind of buff my units, who is in the back lines. Then I have 3 Bullgrins with grenade gauntlets, and the slab shields, 135 points. So that's it's okay. They're just there to be annoying for my opponent. I'm going to put them into a vehicle later on that can fly. That will go into a little bit later on. Just to be annoying, because they're toughness 5. An annoyance factor is there, essentially, and I like to annoy people. And then 5 Ratlings with snipers. I hadn't really seen Ratlings used until this codex came out, and then the last 4 battle reports had Ratlings in. Essentially, for 35 points you have 5 snipers, and the Ratlings, if I find their profile, they have a ballistic skill of 3+, so they are doing better than Tau, which is funny. They have low toughness and strength and only 1 wound and a 6-up save, but they are there to just pot shots at any characters coming in, pot shots at anything really coming in close to your line. But with all the stuff that's around with the vehicles that we'll go into with the heavy support, your opponent might probably ignore them, which is dangerous for them. So that is it for the elite section there. I will say now, it is quite funny going through this codex. Players like Ian on the channel, Tau, I could just imagine the conversation being, oh, what's the new guard book like? Oh yeah, it's really good, thank you. How's your Tau? They're okay. Okay, let's do a battle report. What are these? Oh, these are Pathfinders, yeah. So they've got marker lights. So I have to roll to hit you. And then if I do, it accumulates to benefits. For example, reroll 1s, moving up to that. What about you? Well, I'm Cadian, so I get to reroll 1s anyway if I don't move. And then I can reroll other shots with other rules. And I've got tanks that can essentially appear with a unit of guardsmen on your side of the table. How does that sound? He won't like that. Fast attack. We have a unit of 1 armoured sentinel with a missile launcher. And then I have another 1-man unit of armoured sentinel and a missile launcher. Sentinels they're okay. I like the look of them. I've always liked them. I think they're pretty cool. But they don't negate anything for moving and shooting a heavy weapon. They're still going to have the minuses to hit. And in regards to their ballistic skill, it's a 4+. So that will become a 5+. So the armoured sentinels, I've given them missile launchers. They're essentially going to be sat there not moving, shooting missile launchers, because you've got different options for the shooting. You could do the stronger shot or the one that hurts multiple models, essentially what used to be a small blast. So you've got those options to kind of stay back, don't move, and fire again. And then for the fun of it, I've got a Hellhound. It's not really Cadian fluffy, it's more Kachan army, I would say, because it's moving, it's going to lose its reroll essentially. But I've got an Inferno Cannon. So what happens is this Hellhound is going to move 11 inches. No, sorry, it moves 12 inches. It's ballistic skill 4 with 3 attacks at the start, but because it's an Inferno Cannon, that's a 16-inch heavy 2d6 flamer which automatically hits. It's strength 6 -1 and 1 damage. Now, if I can roll well, that's going to hurt light to medium to essentially a little bit of heavy infantry. Because it's a strength 6 and it's a -1 to the AP, that's pretty good. It's toughness 7 as well. It's got 11 wounds and a 3-up save. So I think the Inferno Cannon is the way forward. Or I would also recommend possibly the Devil Dog, which is a heavy bolter and melter cannon. Now the melter cannon is assault D3, 24 inches, strength 8 -4 D6. If you're within half range, you can roll 2 dice and discard the lowest. So that is essentially 1 to 3 shots of a melter, which is cool. And with them moving 12 inches, that's essentially a 36-inch melter gun. And because it's assault, it won't have a minus to it. Now the Inferno Cannon is a heavy, but it automatically hits, so you don't need to worry about the ballistic skill side of it. So a tank with a flamer, it's going to move up, flame you. It's going to be quite close to the enemy unit, so they probably are going to be able to assault it, but then you can overwatch as well, so that'll be interesting to see what happens with that flamer, but it is a distraction unit for them. Onto the heavy support. We have a free heavy weapon platform team essentially, all with las cannons, which is cool. I like las cannons. The ballistic skill of the guardsmen in that heavy weapon team is a 4+, but they're not going to move, so they get to reroll ones, which is good. Then I have a Lehmann Punisher cannon, Punisher tank with 3 heavy bolters, 166 points. Punishers are awesome. Lehmann Russes are awesome now. You move them half range or not at all. They get to fire their turret weapons twice, which means it's a 40-shot weapon, that one. But because they're Cadian and I don't move them, I'm rerolling ones. A Lehmann Russ battle cannon with 3 heavy bolters as well. Battle cannons, I do like them. It gives you that versatility to go against the bigger things, the Riptides, the Land Raiders coming at you. Where are they? So the Lehmann Russ. The battle cannon it's D6 shots. Strength 8 -2 D3 damage. So Terminators as well, potentially hurting them. Its ballistic skill is only 4, but again, if I don't move, I'm rerolling ones because I'm Cadian. And I'm very good at rolling ones, as you would see on any battle report. So Cadian seems to be the army for me. Then I've got a Basilisk with an Earthshaker cannon. I've always liked Basilisks. I had a Basilisk once. I had a Tyrannid army and I had some Kachan guardsmen and a Basilisk about 12 years ago, maybe even longer. And I had it as it was like a Gene Stealer cult element to the army. Basilisks, a 4-up ballistic skill. Again, don't move, Cadian. It's 240-inch range, so okay range. Heavy D6, strength 9, -3, AP, D3 damage. You roll 2 dice for the number of attacks when firing this weapon and discard the lowest. This weapon can target units that are not visible to the bearer as well. So you are using it at the back of your line to destroy things. That D3 damage is dangerous, but the roll 2 dice for the number of attacks and discard the lowest is incredible, because you're going to be essentially hitting a lot with that. And with the ballistic skill 4, not great, but like I said, Cadian reroll ones. The Wyvern. I like the look of the Wyverns. I always have done. And it comes with its quad storm shield. Heavy 4 D6, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. So similar essentially to what the Punisher Gatling cannon will put out in shots. Maybe slightly less for this one. Ballistic skill 4 again, but Cadian reroll ones. The weapon can target units that are not visible to the bearer, and you can reroll failed wound rolls for this weapon as well. That's pretty awesome. So 48-inch range, which is most long range for most other armies. You're going to be wiping out orcs, gaunts, and doing pot shots off of heavier things as well. Maybe not vehicles or big monsters, but warriors for Tyranids, Terminators, things like that. Low level, low toughness Eldar things like the Venoms and Vipers, they're going to be dangerous for that as well. And then a Hydra, which has its own little quad autocannon. Now, this also has a 4-up ballistic skill, but don't move, so reroll ones. 72-inch, heavy 8, so 8 shots. That's free, plus 5. Strength 7, -1, 2 damage. Add 1 to the hit rolls made for this weapon against targets that can fly. Subtract 1 from the hit roll against all other targets. So this Hydra will just be there to shoot flyers, essentially all the planes in the game, jet bikes, skimmers, so anything Eldar, that's a vehicle, anything Dark Eldar, that's a vehicle, anything Harlequin, that's a vehicle, jet bikes for the Eldar. They have 2 armor now, so the 2 damage makes sense to be doing that. Tau, their crisis suits, I'm sure they have fly. All of their suits, I think, have fly. So yeah, those 8 shots are going to be pop, 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 pop into those. Won't be doing a huge amount of. I can't see myself doing a huge amount each turn, but over 3 or 4 turns, you're probably going to be whittling things down, advancing at you, or crippling skimmers, so that they go a little bit lower in that bracket and changes their stats. Then we have a Valkyrie. Now, I like the look of it. When I used to live in Lincoln, when I used to study there at university, there was a guy there that was proud to have a 10,000 point Astra Militarum army. He had it broken up into the Air Force, the Armoured Corps, and the Infantry. And it was huge. He had about 10 flyers, he had many tanks, and many more infantry units, and he would just love to showcase it. He'd have pictures of them, like a father would, of his children. Hello, these are my children. Hello, these are my infantry. Like that. And Valkyries have always looked cool to me, so what is a Valkyrie? It's a flyer. It's strength 7, toughness 7. It has a 4+ shooting. It's Cadian. Well, no, I can't give it a regiment, it looks like, but it's going to be moving anyway. And it can move 20 to 45 inches at full whack. It's going to have the multiple rocket launchers, assault D6, strength 5, -1 damage. That's just going to be an annoying like fly that gets in your face. It's also going to have multi-laser and 2 heavy bolters. So all low strength things, but something to annoy your opponent and give it something to think about. It has grav chute insertion. Models may disembark from the vehicle at any point during its move, but if the Valkyrie moves more than 20 inches, you must roll a d6. On a 1, one of the models come d6 per model, and on a 1, that model is slain. This model can transport 12 Astra Militarum infantry models. Each heavy weapons team or veteran heavy weapons team takes the space of 2 other models, and each Ogryn takes the space of 3 other models. So potentially what I'm going to put in it is a 10-man unit of infantry and those 3... I can't do that. And the 3 Ogryns. I'm going to have to relook at that. But I was hoping to get the Ogryns in and then have the infantry in, but I've only got 12, so I'm going to have to do my maths again, I think. But definitely have the Ogryns in there. So they just come out and they're there. And what are you going to do? You've got tanks over here, Valkyrie over here, Ogryns over here. You're just being pelted from the back lines. It is a hover jet, so it can stop and then act essentially like a skimmer. But it will lose the airborne, hard to hit and supersonic ability. If the model does hover in its movement phase, add 1 to the hit rolls in its shooting phase. So it becomes a 3+ ballistic skill, which is cool. So what I'll probably do is fly over things, drop the Ogryns, and then in my next turn kind of hover there and have it as a shooting platform. What does airborne do? This model cannot charge and can only be charged by units that can fly, and can only attack or be attacked in the fight save for units that can fly. So if it is just flying around like this, that's how they fly, you can't charge it. And this airborne rule I think is going to be given to everything that's a flyer when the codexes do eventually roll out for the other armies. Hard to hit, your opponent must subtract 1 to hit this model in the shooting phase. So if I hover it, I lose that ability. Supersonic, each time the model moves, you pivot it 90 degrees like you would do normally. So 14 wounds, 3 up save. It's okay. It's going to be essentially quite an expensive platform to shoot things. If I'd have got a couple more heavy weapons squad, it probably would have been better. But I like Valkyries. I like the look of it, and it gives the platform for the Bullgryns to go in there as well. So that makes 1,000, just under 2,000 points of an army there. You've got 12 command points. You essentially have 3 Lehmann Russ, 3 heavy weapon las cannon, a Wyvern and Hydras shooting at both the air and light infantry, Basilisks shooting at Terminators and vehicles, a Valkyrie being an annoyance to your opponent, a tank commander essentially that is deep striking into the opponent's lines, some snipers for characters, some Bullgryns to look pretty, a Hellhound to flame light infantry, and armoured sentinels to do those strong missile shots at your opponent as well, and a Psyker for defence and smiting, which is incredible. So that's my 2,000 point Cadian list. There's a lot of variety there, a bit of synergy, so a bit fluffy, not hardcore. I don't know if this would be a hardcore list. Please let me know in the comment section below. But to make this army 2,500 points, all I would say is add 1 Baneblade. Of any of the varieties, because they make about 500 points-ish on there. A normal Baneblade is 512 points, but I do like the one which has the gigantic cannon, which you get special things to kill titans, and it can literally demolish a Land Raider, demolish a titan pretty much in one shot, which is awesome. So that is my army. Like I said, I'm going to be building this army up myself for the channel. So tell me what you think as a Cadian force. Is it good, bad? What in this army list is good? What could I improve on? Thanks very much for watching. Please comment, share, like and subscribe. I've been Mark from the Xenoviz channel, looking at more Astra Militarum, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.